black skin, white teeth, and my drive line. I mixed the dick with blue flow. Now black teeth are turned one of the fun, and all I had to do was turn the stove up. And that black nigga feet cold. Hanging his face to free. The devil try to hit me with the free cold, black people. Tell me what you niggas say you don't care. You gotta be the woman now, you put it in style. Well, I can't be in the game, I'm in the race. I gotta be in the thing, but it's great. But no one funny, like you know it is. You can run to the heart, now we go. If the funny blows, then I know we got him. Scully, my father, like my father, wanted that covered. King White, money, but still black. All the niggas playing King, but still black. King over, the answer, the answer. From a lot of devil was alive, all that shit, yeah. Big whips. This nigga talking big shit. Double drug, double red. Double drug, double bitch. I'm real on this, I'm down.
All right, everybody get started. Let's get started.
I want members to make sure. Her don't pay the she got interviews. I'm really famous pregnant and texting on friends. I'm saying, oh, I miss you. You can read me at night. The cook deep down and you know that one on case. The last time I keep it with my dog and man, they shit and shit. Is that you will tell me like you this and we got you know, I keep it one man. Something shit is how long stack it again. That's my recipe. We made the movie, we do what we want, and I'm just keeping business. I called like the one, and I know I don't remember. A big bag of money, and when I look at them, they're without. And when you get what you get, we into the man, it's not what I think I say. And then when you see what you get, well, I don't know how to do it. What you see, what you get. I don't fuck around and get it. Well, yeah, I got money calling back to me, but I just scratched my lip and I scratched out my ear, and I just follow another rabbit. It on my wrist. You walking street, yellow, diamond, I know you, but it was family, you know, that's like about the sharing bottle, really, yeah, chase me, and wherever nigga, I never got yeah, I told you, but I was speak, yeah, and now the day that could be spread on that, yeah, I got one, yeah, I'm just trying to
hit another lick.
Baby, what you see is what you get. On the street, nigga, but I'm rich.
All right.
Nigga, what you see is what you get. We need to go back to the baby, what you see is what you get. Well, I know
Yes, sir. Let's get started, man. What's going on, everybody? This is Master Pyro tapping in on Levels of Mastery here on IMC TV. Oh, man, what a beautiful day. Today is 4th of July, 2023. I'm here in Phoenix. All right, for those that have been following me on Instagram, follow me, wherever platform you're following me on, you guys will know I was just in California for about 12 days, maybe it was 12 to 13 days, almost 2 weeks. And it was a hell of hell of a journey, that's for sure, right? You know, we're gonna get into that in a second, but before I get into that, you know, welcome to this expression that I have here on Levels of Mastery, where I'm able to talk about my process, talk about my state of mind when it comes through, you know, living this thing called life and doing it systematically, doing it in matters of progressing forward and not being stuck in the cycle, not doing things, you know, unconsciously and things of that nature. Give me 1 second while I fix this angle real quick. I think the angle could be a lot better. Yeah, I don't like this angle. We're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix that. There we go. So a little better. All right, cool. So this is about you know, leveling up and taking things to a new level and knowing what that is for you and how are we going to adjust, how are we going to be real about what's the next step to take. That's what I'm seeing, is that we got to be honest about what's the next step to take so we can really get the results. Okay, so I've been doing this process, I've been doing this practice from since 2019. Okay, 2019, 2018 is when I really been going after this thing called a dream or a vision that I once saw for myself, right? Becoming a videographer, you know, traveling, speaking, right? This is where it all started. It all started with me wanting to become a speaker, and then I started picking up a camera, and that just exploded on a whole nother level. And but it all comes from the same state of mind. It all comes from the same understanding of like, hey, you know, I can't be in this condition forever, man. Like, I got to get out this shit. I can't keep doing the same thing. Now, there's a lot of phases that I went through. There's a lot of phases that I went through to get here. And where is here right now? Well, right now in July 4th, 2023, I just came back from California, like I mentioned, right? And now that was just like literally on my YouTube channel. You can go right now on Master Pyro's Reflection on YouTube, and you can go way back in my vlogs that were 2 years ago, 2021, where I was doing them on a patio, right? And in that phase of going live, or what I'm speaking about, was in the position of knowing that I will be here today, where I'm in Phoenix, I'm traveling state to state, I'm establishing network. I've been able to not only express, but provide enough value where I have somebody willing to invest in my company. I have people that's behind me in my movement, right? I have the ones that matter. You see, and a lot of times when we're going through our phases and we're going through our evolution, what we're doing is like, man, we want people to recognize what we're doing. We want some kind of like push and like being recognized. This is what it comes down to, somewhere in the mix of it. And I know for a lot of people, they're going to say, man, I don't give a fuck about whether being recognized or not. I don't know how true that really is, because to a degree, I still get rid of that. And I know I'm very far off in that path of really giving a fuck what people think about, because I've put myself in big stages. I put myself in a lot of places where I had to prove that to myself amongst a very wide range of people, even people where, you know, for example, you got a business, right? You have a business, you have a side hustle, you got something that you're trying to, you know, you're putting out into the world. And let's just say you go to a concert. Let's say you go to a market. Let's say you go to an event, and there's somebody that you really want to connect with. There's somebody that you really want to even promote your company, or you want somebody to be a part of your company. In those moments, you're going to start giving a fuck about what they think about your company, because you want them to be a part of it. But it's the angle that you're coming about it, and you don't know about what's the proper way of doing it if you haven't done it enough times. So what I'm saying in all that is that you have to learn. We have to learn, because I'm included in this. I have to learn how to consistently keep facing that next level of me presenting not only what it is that I'm trying to sell, what I'm trying to put out into the world, but the next level of my communication to express it properly and get the results. That's just what we all coming down to. It's all coming down to results in your networking opportunity and skills. So today I'm going to be talking about the idea of having food for thought, okay? The title of this video is called Why You Should Have Food for Thought, or What is Food for Thought, or how to eat food for thought. We got to really analyze this as far as what is this concept and idea of food for thought. You know, we hear that people say that, oh, you know, this is a good food for thought, or this food. And it's like, okay, this is thing. I'm gonna just share my idea of it. And we're gonna go off of this because there's different ways to look at it, but let's look out for this, right? Food for thought is what your thoughts are eating off of, right? It's what's feeding your thoughts. That's why it says food for thought. So it makes me wonder, and I want to ask everybody, what are your thoughts feeding off of? What are you feeding off of? What is your thoughts feeding off? What are you feeding it? Right? Then that comes down to the news, you know, what your source of news are, right? I know people have different sources of news. It don't have to be the CNN or the ABC News or the Fox 13 News, whatever the hell it is. It don't have to be just that. But where do you get your information from on current events or ideas or, you know, social media or your family, things of that nature? Where are you getting your source of news, and what ideas are they feeding off of? Another thing is, you know, in any area of life, what food for thought do you have for it? And I'm seeing that is that people don't have the right quality of the food that their thoughts are feeding from. You have to clear out your diet, if you will. You have to change your diet, if you will, and what you're feeding your thoughts. Everybody wants to detox their body. They want to change the way how they're eating. They want to change their lifestyle on what they're reading and all that, but they're not changing the food for thought that they're consistently feeding on other areas of it. They're still hanging on. They're still feeding off of certain things. And I've been seeing that for myself. So what I was on live today on Instagram. For those that saw the behind the scenes that I shared, right? This is why you got to tap it on Instagram. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, get more behind the scenes of how Master Pyro creates, you know, his aesthetic of his life, and showing a little behind the scenes before I do something, right? Like, for example, I did Levels of Mastery today, and I went live for about 20 minutes, and I was sharing about what I'm reading to have a food for thought. And I'm gonna kind of go over right now a little bit. I'm gonna just share a little bit what I went over. So one of the books that I'm reading to have a proper food for thought, which makes sense, right? And of course, you gotta have a strong philosophy. You gotta have a strong philosophy. You gotta have a strong philosophy, which is something we'll go into another day, right? I want to save that for a whole other video, right? But you got to have your own strong philosophy, especially if you're a man. And if you're a woman, your philosophy should be generated and based on your man's philosophy, because you have to be in alignment to your man. This is the order that God has presented to man to live properly. And where am I getting that from? I'm getting it from this. I got that idea from the Holy Bible. So the Holy Bible is a book that I'm getting my food for thought from when it comes to a lot of things. And I have to apply it accordingly and properly and justly in my life and how I'm moving through my life, because my life is my own book. The same way how Matthew, Luke, John, and whatever has their book on here, I'm writing my own book. And then I have this thing here called God's Promise, right? For every day. And this book right here is kind of like a guide, you know, to, you know, help you find certain parables or certain concepts, or in other words, food for thoughts, right? Something my mind can base itself off of, instead of the world's opinions and ideas. I want to get to close to God's word as possible, not even my own ideas. Like, I'm going to generate my concepts and opinions and all that based on what food for thought I'm getting from the book. So let's kind of dive in here real quick, right? So this is called God's Promise for Every Day, right? And here, let's give you guys an idea. It says, what to do when you are frantic and stressed. So if you feel frantic and you feel stressed, this book is going to give you some parables so you can go into the great book and discover it yourself. All right, this helps me kind of dive in this with a little more direction. This is my personal way of doing it. You know, I just recommend you just picking up the book and you doing it the way you do it, right? Okay, so let me see if I can find one real quick. It says, when you're feeling frantic and stressed, in Psalms 27:4, it says, wait for the Lord's help. Be strong and brave, and wait for the Lord's help. Psalms 27:4. Okay, let's read the next one. Oh man, I'm terrible at reading these books names. It's called Lamentations. 3:25-26. I'm gonna work on that. So it says, the Lord is good to those who hope in him, to those who seek him. It is good to wait quietly for the Lord to save. Okay, I'm gonna read that one more time. It says, the Lord is good to those who hope in him, to those who seek him. It is good to wait quietly for the Lord to save. Now let's go ahead and just and expand on that, on having a food for thought. So if I'm having a moment of being stressed out, I don't know what to do, all these things are going on, this is where the practice comes in, when it says, not my will, but thy will. Not my will, but the Lord's will. Too many times we're trying to push our will on somebody else, on a business transaction, on relationships, right? On in how life should go and how it shouldn't go, and all these different concepts and ideas we have on what our will is, but we're not giving up to the Lord, and that stresses us out. We build a lot of stress because now we're trying to control something that we got zero to little no control in. But the Lord says in the book, it says that we should wait quietly. How many times in the moment of being stressed or the moment of not knowing what's going on, we're not quiet? And sometimes, yes, it is going to mean quietly verbally, but it's also going to mean quiet internally, right? Don't be so loud internally about what needs to be fixed or adjusted. Just know that the Lord is going to save you if you ask, right? Ask and you shall receive. But the problem is that we're still not allowing that to work through us. And that's what I'm seeing within my own life when I'm reading this. Like, man, we're bypassing all these things that we need to be doing because we still think we have control behind what we're doing. And it's very clear we got zero control in anything that moves on. Today is today. Today has its own issues and problems. I read that in the Bible as well. I'm going to get better at memorizing in the book. But I remember reading in the book that it says, don't worry about tomorrow. Today has its own problems. Tomorrow has its own problems. Tomorrow has its own issues, its own ups and downs. Worry about today. Put your mind on what today has available for you to do. And I'm noticing that when I just operate off of those two ideas and I allow those to be my food for thought, I'm not stressed out because I'm seeing that I'm just a vehicle going through this planet, and the Lord or God or the consciousness that's inside of me is going to express itself more purely when I get out my own way. What is the I? The ego that thinks that I have this control. So I'm saying this as a reflection from me to you. What food for thought are you consuming on a day-to-day? When you're trying to speak to that customer, when you're trying to speak to that next networking opportunity, when you're trying to speak to your future clients, when you're trying to speak to your relationships, when you're trying to speak to your family, are you doing it from a place of loud internal loudness, or are you quiet internally, allowing God to move the way it needs to move through you? And you start to become more at peace. You don't need to trip out. So there's a lot of different things, right? That's just from the Bible, right? That's just from the Bible. I have other books there called The Untethered Soul, you know, NLP books and other things like that. But it helped me realize that before, these ideas that I was consuming my mind was from either from social media, a podcast I was watching, or a TV show. And I started to see, man, I need to clean myself out. This is not the proper way to go about thinking. Like literally, I started seeing my mind was just full of junk. And that's one of the issues with growing with knowledge, not with wisdom. Because when you grow in wisdom, you understand that the knowledge is only there for you to just have an understanding, but you have to let go. The proper way is like the way of the master for myself is that when you learn something and you get it, you don't try to change it. You become aware of it. You got to become more aware of it, because the more awareness you grow within something, it changes on its own. It's the lack of consciousness, it's the lack of awareness that you can't change it, even if you know it needs to be changed. That's why some people, there's things that need to be worked on, but they can't work on it, right? Because their awareness is not there enough to change it. They're still comfortable in their shit. They're not sick of their sickness yet, right? We heard those sayings, right? You got to become sick of your sickness. All this comes from understanding that you have to be able to see that I need to grow in more awareness so I don't become attached to it, because then you become attached to trying to fix it. I need to do this. I need to make more money. I need to get more time. And then you start to get in this, I wouldn't say robotic, but you become in this cycle that you can't even get out of, that you think you're moving somewhere, but you're going nowhere fast. All right. So I'm gonna take a quick little break, or not a break, but a little moment. Is there any questions or any insights that anybody may have? Anybody wants to expand on, feel free. All right, I'm just gonna open up the floor real quick. All right, cool. So I want to speak on something. You see, I'm in the field a lot. What I mean by in the field, meaning like I'm out in life a lot, standing on my own creation that I know to some degree everybody wants to be expressing their life at. I know if anybody could want to live a life, is that every day when they wake up, they're standing on their own energy, meaning the money, the income they're going to get is going to be on what they do for themselves, their own company. They don't have to work for somebody else. They don't have to, log in anywhere to collect money. It's literally on them speaking and providing the service they truly want. And I'm seeing that to be able, at the level that I am now, at some point, you can go way back on Levels of Mastery, and you can see for yourself where I was in a phase of trying to get out of the matrix, right? Even when I was out of my 9-to-5, I was still in the matrix because I was still doing other side jobs to be fully sufficient on my craft. That's two different things, right? And I'm seeing that it all came down to what I was feeding my mind. So I really want everybody to get out of this episode on Levels of Mastery is, what are you feeding your mind? The same way before you prep your food, you got the onions, you got the salt, you got the oil, you got the pan, you got all the ingredients that you have. I'm asking you, what ingredients do you have today to feed your mind properly? Even myself, I've been caught up, I would say to some degree this is more like, when I'm reflecting, it's more like 2 years ago, because I had to involve myself in the social media world to understand it. And it's a dark place. So some of that you're going to get entwined with because you're learning from it. However, you got to be able to see that that is something that you need to do just to learn, but not become of, right? Like in the Bible, it says you must be in the world, but not of the world. Be in the world, but not of the world. And that's another teaching or another understanding of episode that I'm going to put up. But I'm seeing that with that practice, I had to be able to extract myself from the things that I'm learning and apply it through wisdom, right? Wisdom by actually practicing it, putting yourself out there. And you got to analyze what you're feeding yourself. So I highly advise or suggest everybody that's listening to me or watching this stream later on is that you pick out your food for thought consciously. Don't, a lot of times we come off of ideas unconsciously from when we watched on TV, what we're studying, what YouTube video came on, or whatever the hell it is, right? Just be more mindful of that, right? And actually go out there and seek it out. Like today, I'm going to live my life after this, right? I take, this is like a brief little moment in Master Pyro living his life, and it's like reporting in on like a week-to-week basis, right? And I'm going to apply this as I live today. I'll show you this. So I'm going to show you, that was part of my food for thought, but I'm going to share with you guys, I think it's in this book. Yeah, it's one of my notes that I wrote in here, right? I'm going to show you how I'm going to live today, because this is my practice of the day. You got to have your daily practices, weekly practices. You got to have things that shape your consciousness, shape your character, right? Just because you feel frustrated doesn't mean you got to approach things frustrated. Just because you're angry doesn't mean you have to approach things angrily. Just because you're confused, don't approach things confused. Approach things with understanding. Approach things with better, it's having better approach, right? So let's see here. Let's pick one, right? These are some notes that I've taken, and I'm going to show you, because these four passages are like the main things I'm living through right now when it comes to the Bible. And let's go ahead and read one of these. Let's see what this one has to talk about. Such a cool feeling, like going through the Bible. It's just a good feeling. Like when I had the wrong state of mind and the wrong perception for a while, but I had to allow God to work through me so I can come back to the book properly. Because everything that I learned about this book was the wrong food for thought. It was past the what's the word? The doctrination that I had, everybody was programmed. Everybody was doctrinated somehow, some way. The Catholic Church, the First Baptist, the fucking 7 Days Adventist, whatever it is, right? We all been doctrinated somehow, some way about this book, and it was all passed down by people that was all living it incorrectly. And we seen it as a child, and it shifted the way how we see things forever at that point. But now we're adults, and now we can recreate this relationship or this understanding, but we got to seek it out ourselves, right? So that just came out because I touched this book, and it's just dope to be able to revisit this again with another understanding. Man, I used to know where all the books were, like just by starting to go through them. First Peter, looking for. Looking for the book. Give me 1 second. Oh, just found it. Peter. If anybody got the great book with them, please turn to First Peter. I see myself talking about this book a lot more, to be honest with you. Corinthians, Philippians, Hebrew, Peter. Okay. 1 Peter chapter 4. It's a small book. 1 Peter is a small book. That's why I missed it. 1 Peter, super small book. Okay, 1 Peter 4, 12, 14. Okay. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 12 and 14. It says, yeah, next page. One more page. Yeah, these pages are so thin. Okay. Here we go. It says, beloved, do not think it strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange things happen to you. Verse 13, but rejoice to the extent that you partake of Christ's suffering, that when his glory is revealed, you may also be glad that his exceeding joy, with his exceeding joy. If you are reapproached for the name of Christ, blessed are you, for the spirit of glory and the God rests upon you. On their part, he is, so let's go back to that. Do not think it is strange concerning the fiery trial, which is going to try you. So it says, do not think it is strange to go through the fiery trial. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't think it's a trip when you go through that. A lot of times when we go through these things, we think it's strange, but he's telling you don't be strange about it, right? Let's go to the next one, Matthew 6. All right, Matthew 6. Matthew 6, 34. Matthew 6:34. Okay, it's in red. This is what Jesus said himself. It says, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. So just that alone, right? How many times do we, that's what I'm saying. We got to have the proper food for thought. Jesus said himself, the God himself, the example himself, he said, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. A lot of times our stress and what our food for thought comes from is about concerning about the future. Not to say, not to plan, not saying that. What I'm saying that the moment the cup fills to a point where you're starting to worry about tomorrow, that's when you got to stop, right? You got to put into work what is available to you. What has God made available for you today? What do you have today? From that, you create from there. You use what you have from there. You plan from that from there. Tomorrow is going to unfold the way it's going to unfold, whether we wake up tomorrow or not. That's the crazy part. It's going to do what it's going to do, whatever the case can be. So we got to be able to stay firm in our clarity in what we're creating and how we're creating. And I'm being that reminder for anybody today that you got to have the proper food for thought. Don't feed off of what this other shit is going on, right? Find that peace within yourself to feed yourself the right fruits, right? And the best way to do that is don't consume yourself with more knowledge. Don't consume yourself with more information. You have to let go of that. Just become aware. That's one of the biggest teachings that I've learned recently, right? That's been the problem with mankind, is that we're consistently diving into this new intelligence, new information, and we're losing this touch of nature. We're losing this touch of what we call God, because it's being consumed with that. And we have to be able to see, okay, it's not about that anymore. There's plenty of information at our fingertips. We know this already, but we gotta begin to use our wisdom, which comes from what? Experience. And let's not neglect that. Let's not try to see what more can we gain. What do we need to let go? The biggest things that I've learned within the last month, the last 30 days, that I literally have saved my state of mind and my heart and my soul, my whole beingness, is letting go of shit. Like letting go of these old ideas and concepts, like unlearning these bad habits that I've had, doing it from the proper state of mind. All right. So this is all the time that I have today. I want to salute to everybody that tapped in with me. If you guys have any more insights or questions, please tap in with me on my Telegram group. My Telegram group has all of my updates on when I go live. Here on IMC TV, right? This is not my platform. This is IMC TV platform that I'm sharing my my space with, Levels of Mastery. Every Tuesday is broad live stream like this on YouTube. On Fridays is more of a closed group. All right, we won't be streaming it. It's more private, so we can have more dialogue, more communication amongst everybody, and be able to see where everybody's at, what level are they at, and what they need to do to get to the next level. That's what I'm here to speak about. This is what I'm here to talk about. This is what I'm here to minister about, because this is what I learned within myself to create the lifestyle that I have. All right. Follow me on Instagram, master_pyro. You can catch up with all my updates, things of that nature. I got online right now. I have Giovanni, shout out to you. I have Vic online, shout out to you. And I have my girl online, and we're going to be able to tap in a new level as we begin to grow on Levels of Mastery. We're going to keep sharing what we need to do to, level up. All right, this is Levels of Mastery. It's not only about me and what I have going on, but how is this reflection with me helping you grow to where you got to grow to? Because like I was explaining to my friend the other day, right? What I'm concerned about when it comes to knowledge and information is not just my own personal opinion, because that doesn't affect nobody. I'm looking for that thing that affects me, you, and everybody on the planet. That is not an opinion, right? As a man, what affects me and you as a man? And if you're a woman, what affects me and you as human beings? And I want to consistently communicate and expand on that, because the more I expand on what I, as an individual, I can't connect with anybody outside of me. When it comes to me communicating, that's what I'm saying. When I'm communicating, it's not about me, because I'm good with me and God and my relationship with God, whatever that is, right? I've practiced that. That's on my own time. But that helps me connect with other people. And when I'm talking to other people, it can't be about me. It has to be about what is that line that connects me and that other individual that is there that we both can't ignore. We just can't ignore that. For example, as men, if it's me and my homies in a room and a fine woman walk through, we're all going to feel the same thing. It doesn't matter what my opinion is. It doesn't matter what his opinion is. We're both going to feel that like, whoa, shit. When it comes to me and my homies in a room and a man walks in with a gun or whatever, we're both going to feel that feeling of wanting to protect, right? That's something we feel as men. Other things I can get into, but I'm searching for that truth. I'm searching for that truth that we all feel. Because from there, this must be that thing that we talk about God, because like imagination, we all have that. And I believe that is the connection of the human body and this unlimitedness of what we call God, right? God is just such a small word when we're really talking about what we're talking about. You got to really see that when we say God, we limit him so much. All right. In the book, it says, look up into the heavens. Realize that I'm the creator. I know I've named every star. I've named every galaxy. Man, think about that. The thing that created us, that's this big, created everything that you see outside of this planet as well. So we limit ourselves in our creation. And that's where when we go in our imagination, let's stop limiting ourselves. Let's let that thing fly. All right. This is Master Pyro tapping in. IMC Nation, be the best.